Hi everyone, I'm Mark Mulholland. Welcome to The Upbeat, a podcast about hope and perseverance. Today you're going to hear from a Ukrainian family that has emigrated to the United States because of the ongoing war in their homeland. As we record this in March 2023, it's been just over a year since Russia invaded Ukraine, forcing millions of families to flee their country to escape the violence. As the one-year anniversary was approaching, the Kelly's Angels Volunteer Board voted to expand our charity's mission to start a program we call Hugs for Ukraine to help families that have relocated to New York's capital region because of the war. For those not familiar with Kelly's Angels, it's a charity we founded to honor the memory of my late wife, Kelly Mulholland, who passed away from breast cancer when our children were 7 and 5 years old. Kelly's Angels' mission is to help children facing grief to smile. Since launching the Hugs for Ukraine campaign last week, we've received more than a dozen applications from families who are in need of some assistance, and we're proud to be able to lend a hand. Joining me today is Nadiia and her daughter Katerina, Kate, who is 13 years old and in 7th grade. Thank you for being with us. Are you guys okay being here? Nadiia, tell me a little bit about your family.
But my family, we were from Ukraine. We lived in central part of Ukraine named Dnipro city. So there was born Kate. I studied there, I worked there. We have a family, we have a good situation. Worked, have friends. So then?
Kate is your only child?
Yes, only one child.
And your husband is still in Ukraine?
Is still in Ukraine. Before 60 years, from 18 to 60, all men in Ukraine stay. They защищают.
They stay to protect.
To protect Ukraine.
To protect Ukraine from the Russian invasion. And I should mention that Natalia Karason is here with us today. She is a teacher at Maple Avenue Middle School in Saratoga Springs, New York. She teaches English as a new language, and she has agreed to help translate any issues that we might have. I should mention that your English is very good, Nadiia, and yours is as well, Kate. But we have Natalia here just in case we have any trouble communicating. So all of the men are back in Ukraine. How long have you been here in the United States?
We arrived in September 25th in last year. So with 5 or 6 months we're there.
5 or 6 months. How difficult is it?
No, it's not difficult because people are so kindly helping.
There are some difficulties with language, as expected, but the community has been very welcoming and helped a lot.
May I ask how difficult it was to be uprooted? This was not a planned emigration to the United States, correct?
It was unexpected. They learned about our United for Ukraine program and decided to participate. First, they were very hopeful and believed that the situation will improve quickly, but as the things went worse and they started hearing bombs around their house, Kate was nervous and scared, and the family decided to to participate in the program, and the program was started looking for sponsors for them.
So, Kate, let me ask you. Your mom says you were frightened by bombs near your home. Did you have a choice of where you would come to? Did you get to choose to come to the United States?
I think now we have one my choice: go to the good place and be safe.
Safety was the most important part of that. Tell me about school. You go to school in Saratoga Springs, New York.
Yeah, I'm from 7th grade, and I like my school because I have a lot of friends. My teacher is very good. They understand I'm from Ukraine and English my second language. It is hard for me. They explain me how they can, and I love my school.
So you were learning English in Ukraine, obviously.
Kinda.
Is that mandatory? Do students in Ukraine have to learn English? How do you know English so well?
Because my grandmother is teacher of English, and in Ukraine I teach my English with my grandmother. And right now I speak with my friends in English, and it's like a practice.
So you're unique in that you have a grandmother who teaches English. So that's why you speak so well.
Yeah.
Well, that's terrific. And your grandmother is here
in
the United States living with you.
Yeah.
Your grandfather can't be here.
No.
Your father can't be here.
No.
How difficult is that for you?
It's hard because I miss it, and I don't know how to explain it.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
A girl needs her dad, right? How do you communicate with him? Are you able to communicate with your dad, your friends in Ukraine? How do you do it? Do you do FaceTime? How do you talk to them?
I have FaceTime. We call like every day, and I can text him and he texts me.
Is he, may I ask, is he a soldier now? Has everyone been, nearly every young man been enlisted as soldiers?
Не военный, но есть организация.
He's not in the army now. However, there is an organization that supports military, and they provide services to people who still live in Dnipro and in the area. So he is with that organization. But if there is global mobilization and everybody has to join, he will join too.
Nadiia, let me ask you this. How, given the situation and given what we're hearing about Russia being committed to the long term of this war, how much do you worry about your family every day?
Every day we write news in Telegram, so about our region, about Ukraine in all, and every day we call our friends. It difference in the time 7 hours. So if we have a day, they have a night. So we try to sometimes speaking and telling about this real situation. But our friends and our relatives always say, "Oh, it's good. It's good," and they save us so that не переживали. Not worry about.
Yeah.
But we see it through in the Telegram channels and say it's terrible because it's their real life, and we're in saving and thinking another maybe, I don't know.
So they tell you not to worry, but you can't help but worry, right? Is that
really? Yes, I cannot make anything between careful, not more. So yes, we просим их быть сильными.
We just ask them to stay strong and not give up.
Well, I admire your resolve in that regard. That can't be easy. Kate, what are your favorite subjects at school?
I don't know, probably it is science, social study, and my NL flags, because it is very interesting and it's not hard for me, but kinda it's hard.
Social studies is or is not hard?
Yeah.
It is hard.
Yeah.
And does Mrs. Carasone, is she one of your teachers?
Mrs. Carson is my NL teacher, my NL flags.
And Natalia, I'll ask you that. Kate's a good student?
Kate is a great student. She's very motivated and very dedicated to education and curious and very strong and doesn't give up when she doesn't know something. So she's a perfect student.
And as we've learned, her grandmother teaches English language, so she comes by that quite naturally, doesn't she? You said you've made good friends here in Saratoga Springs, and the friends, do you tell them what's going on? Do you tell them why you're here? Do they understand? Do 13-year-olds understand what's going on?
They're interested why I'm here, and I say right now in Ukraine war, and they, oh, it's very hard for you. I say yes, it's hard, but I love my friends. They understand me why I'm here, and they can speak with me about this on this topic.
So they do understand.
Yeah.
And when this was happening, so you were when Ukraine was first invaded.
Yeah.
You were 12 years old at the time.
Yeah.
And do you still have friends who are there and in danger? Do you have friends you worry about, young people you worry about there?
Yeah, I have a couple of my friends from Ukraine, and they worry about me, like how I can hear, how I can speak here, and they worry about me.
Well, Nadiia and Kate and Natalia, we're going to take a quick break to thank our underwriters. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Nadiia and Kate, and we'll talk about something special we'd like to give Kate. Stay with us.
Support for Kelly's Angels comes from the students and faculty at South Glens Falls High School in upstate New York who hold a 24-hour marathon dance each year to benefit local charities. Kelly's Angels is proud to be among the beneficiaries of the 2022 South High Marathon Dance. We are grateful for their generosity and kindness. Support also comes from Stewart's Shops, an employee and family-owned convenience store chain serving eastern upstate New York and southwestern Vermont. And from Noble Ace Hardware in South Glens Falls, New York, which offers competitive pricing and high-quality products for just about anything you need. For more than 30 years, the team at Noble Ace has delivered on its promise to be the most helpful hardware store in town by providing excellent customer service that exceeds expectations and reflects family values during each and every visit.
Welcome back to the Upbeat Podcast. We're talking with Nadiia and her daughter Kate, who have relocated to upstate New York to escape the war in Ukraine. Nadiia, this is a podcast about perseverance and hope. Where does your strength come from to persevere given the circumstances that you've been dealt over the past year or so?
The strength comes from hope, from believing that the situation will improve, things will be better, and from support and care of community here. Without the help here and beautiful people, it would be much harder.
Kate, I have the same question for you. How do you persevere? What keeps you hopeful?
I think it is from my friends from school, and probably, we believe in my father in Ukraine, and my family from Ukraine, and I hope it will be better.
When do you guys suppose this will be over? What is your hope regarding that? Regarding being hopeful, do you foresee an end to this anytime soon?
They wish for this conflict to end tomorrow, but it's very hard to predict, and they get their strength from supports here and the hope and belief that things will be better.
Let's hope so. What advice do you have for other families who are facing similar circumstances? Kate, let me ask you that first. What advice would you give other children who have had to flee to this country or other countries?
Yeah, we have a couple of students who's from Ukraine. They use the same teaching English, they speak with his friend, but they really hope it will be finished tomorrow or year, 5 years or 10 years. But they want to finish it a lot of soon. And probably our friends helping.
Your friends are helping?
Yeah.
As you know, the Kelly's Angels Hugs for Ukraine program aims to help Ukrainian children here in upstate New York to smile. And you've told us about your perseverance through great adversity, and we want to give you a $500 grant so that you can do something fun. Whatever your heart desires, anything you might like to do, we'll give you that grant. I'm sure you've heard about some of the places you can go to have some fun in this area or in New York. You're welcome to use that money any way you choose to use it. So
thank you so much.
Well, we hope to put a smile on your face. We hope I can see here for those who are listening, I can tell you we have put a smile on Kate's face. Anything you'd like to add, Nadiia? First, I'll ask you, anything you'd like to add about your experience over the past year and how you're powering through it?
There was a lot of fear about moving and relocating to this area, fear of unknown. But when they learn about the support here and help they receive to move here, they're very grateful for all the support and help. And they hope to be supporting someone else too in the future and help anyone who might need help.
Excellent. And Kate, the beauty of podcasts is you can listen anywhere. You can listen anywhere in the world. If your friends and family were listening to this podcast, what would you say to them?
I like my friends. Thank you him so much. And thank you for their helping. I love him so much.
You're talking to your dad at that point, or is that what you're saying? Or your friends? I misunderstood.
About friends.
To your friends. And if your dad was able to listen, if your grandfather was able to listen to this podcast, what message would you have for them?
I love him so much. That's all.
And Nadiia, how about you?
All the positive energy they're getting here, they're going to send back. Sorry.
No, that's quite all right. And Natalia is so moved by this because we should mention that you are from Russia, you have family in Russia, you have family in Ukraine, and you're particularly moved by this because you've experienced emigrating to this country. And you empathize with what they're going through. So I know that's difficult for you, and I appreciate your time.
And seeing what these families are facing and how strong they are and how amazing they are, that it's the best part of my job.
And you've been quite helpful to Kelly's Angels in letting us know about some families who could use some smiles. So we're thankful for that, and we appreciate that. Anything any of you would like to add?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Well, thank you, and thank you for being on The Upbeat and sharing your story. Welcome to Saratoga Springs, and certainly welcome to the Kelly's Angels family. We want you to know you're not alone, and you have our support. We'll be praying for an end to the war and for the day to come quickly. Hopefully it is tomorrow, when you can be reunited with your family that remains in Ukraine. If you're listening and want to donate to Kelly's Angels Hugs for Ukraine campaign, please go to kellysangelsinc.org. Thanks to all of you for listening, and I invite you to subscribe to this podcast and listen to future episodes. I'm Mark Mulholland. Until next time, stay on The Upbeat.
If you enjoy The Upbeat, please subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. If you have topics you'd like us to cover on The Upbeat, please send your ideas to theupbeatpod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. On behalf of the volunteer board of Kelly's Angels and the families we help who are facing life-threatening conditions, thank you for listening to The Upbeat.
Nice job, McKenna Rose.
Thanks, Dad. You too.